Hi everyone. So I welcome you all to the class of business to business marketing. So in the last lecture we were discussing about segmentation and market profitability analysis. So we also calculated the small numerical on how to calculate the market potential, right, by any company. So here we are largely talking about the B2B companies because that is our course, and today we will continue from there, and today we will slightly get into what is the different profitability analysis forecasting methods, and then how target markets are evaluated. We will discuss on these things, right. So as we had stopped in the last class at the with the numeric, as I said. So one of the important parameters of understanding market potential is also the forecasting, right. So as I had given you in the last class an example of for example of Indian Energy Exchange, or the example of CAMS, companies which are basically aggregators, okay, and they are through them, they are like gateways through which majorly the B2B businesses happen, right. So in such conditions, it becomes very important for a marketer to understand the forecast, the future demand of the product, okay. So suppose there can be certain products which are doing well, but their future might not be so good, and a substitute might come in and replace completely the existing product. So forecasting of methods of market profitability analysis, here there are two important measures we will be talking about. Although this will be in detailed, as you can see here I mentioned, it will detailed discussion will happen in week 6, right, later on. So but today, just for the core, as a part of this unit, I am just touching a few important points. So in terms of there are two methods, one is the quantitative method that we use and the other is the qualitative method. So to decide whether the product will do well in the market, will have a future or not. So when you are talking about quantitative methods, there are essentially, these are some of the methods we talk about. For example, naive approach, trend projection, moving average, exponential smoothing and regression. So regression basically is a causal approach. So it is also called a causal approach, and these the other being, these are the time series kind of an approach. Now what is naive approach? As you can understand, naive is something which is going to happen as it was happening in the past. So you try to take some values that was immediately in the past and try to understand and think that it will the same kind of demand will stay in the future. So what was immediately happening, it will stay in the future, the same thing. So maybe the last year sales, the last year demand, something. Then we have a trend projection. We try to go for we try to extrapolate the graph through a graph and something. We try to extrapolate how the future demand will come, right. So this is something we do in a trend projection. So we try to understand the trend, whether it's a growing trend, it's a declining trend, it's a seasonal trend. So what kind of a trend it is following in the last maybe few years, we can see the data and all. The third approach that we talk about, the third method is in quantitative, is the moving average. Now moving average, now naive was talking about the immediate past, but moving average, what it does is tries to take a few years of data, for example a 3 year moving average, right, or a 5-year moving average. So you can create, right. So take the last 3 years and give them the highest weightage, for example, or the last 5 years and give the highest weightage, and try to, on basis of this last 5 years data, 3 years data or 10 years, whatever you want to take, you can project what will be the demand in the 6th year, let us say, what will the demand in the 6th year. So this is something we do in a moving average. So we are giving weightage to the in a dynamic manner, okay, in a moving manner. Then you have something also called a exponential smoothing method in forecasting. So here what is done is the time period is of concern to the marketer. It gives a weightage to the time factor. For example, the recent data is given the highest amount of value, and the older or the very past data, that is given very lesser value, right. So exponential smoothing is a approach where a company tries to take value data of the past through and gives a weightage to it and then tries to calculate what is going to happen in the future. And finally, regression analysis is a causal analysis, as we have must have learned somewhere. So, which is like this is the dependent variable, this is the independent variable, this is the intercept and this is the slope. So, what we do is we try to calculate the y, which is we try to forecast what will be the new value of sales, for example this is sales. Now, by taking for example independent variable, that is let us say number of games, let us say this is the sales of ticket and this is the number of games being played, right, number of games of cricket match being played in a year. So, how many tickets will be sold? Now, the a company or a marketer can understand out of it. These are some of the quantitative methods, okay. And I said we will be doing all of this in depth in the future in the unit 6, right, sorry week 6. Now, coming to qualitative methods. So, when you are talking about market profitability, you also have to understand through certain other ways. For example, not always you will get quantitative data, right. So, in case you do not have quantitative data, what is there available with us? Now, we will go for a qualitative method. Now, qualitative method, when I am saying here, we are talking about certain techniques. For example, Delphi technique, executive opinion, consumer survey or Salesforce composite. Now, what is Delphi? Delphi is a technique in which we take the opinion of people who are learned experts in a particular area, in a particular discipline, and then what we do, we try to take their opinion and then we will further ask them questions related to the subject, and we will continue this process until a time comes where we will get a unanimity in the decision of all people involved in the study. So, let us say for example, if I say now there are 50 people involved in the Delphi process. So, we will take in the first round, we will take the opinion of 50 people, read it, understand it and then try to cross question these people on certain aspects after reading their study, and then again calculate measure their answer, and once we measure their answer, then we will try to again if some cross question is required, we will again ask them. Finally, what we try to do is we try to analyze and come to a situation where these 50 people are in a position or a unanimous decision is coming, which is which can be understood by all, right, or which is similar to everybody's opinion. Such kind of a situation we try to create. Okay. Now, that can be regarding maybe energy requirement, could be water requirement in the future, it could be anything, right. Then we have executive opinion method. Executive opinion method, here we are trying to take the executives in the department, for example, finance, marketing, HR, operations. So, all these different executives in the company, we try to involve them, we try to take their opinion and try to understand from their point of view what kind of demand will be there in the market, what kind of market potential will be there in the future, and are we going to do how much are we going to make out of it, right. So, this is also another qualitative method. So, here we are discussing with our executives and taking their opinion. The third thing that we can do is a approach where companies try to conduct surveys of their customers, right, and try to understand from them whether they would buy the product in the future or not, right. Let us say somebody is a customer, is a B2B customer, has purchased a, let us say a high end computer, right. Now, we would like to meet them, talk to them, update them about our products and ask them whether they would like to continue or they would like to switch. If they would like to switch, then what is the reason they would like to switch to some other product, and if they would like to continue, what is the strongest point in this product that is helping them to continue with this product. So, these kind of surveys are also very helpful to understand the consumer psychology. The last point that we are talking about is the Salesforce composite. In this Salesforce composite, what we do is we are taking the opinion of the people who are the closest to the customers, and they are now nobody else but the salespeople, right. So, now how are these salespeople connecting to the customer, or they are in what kind of impression they are getting from the customer, what kind of image the customer has, what do they feel about the customer's needs and wants. So, the sales people are the people who are in direct relationship with the customers, right, maybe through the dealers, through the retailers, or in a B2C case, or if it is a B2B, it is a direct, right, because in B2B you have a very short channel, right, directly manufacturer to the user, right, maximum is maybe one intermediary could be there. So, here the sales force has a direct understanding about what his customer requires. For example, let us say at IIT we are buying lots of products for our for our experiments, laboratory and all. Now, the companies which are selling these products to us, they directly meet us, right, and they would like to understand what is our requirement. Even for example, when we are buying softwares, right. So, what are the softwares that we require, and even they would like to give us customized version of the software according to our requirements. So, that is where the Salesforce is directly in connection with us, and he gets into a personal relationship. So, this helps us to understand the consumer better. So, Salesforce Composite is one such technique. Okay. So, these techniques are used for understanding the forecasting or the market future market potential, right, for a particular product or service. Now, coming to the target market strategies. Now, once the decision is made on the target segments, right, now the question is, we have to develop a strategy, right, to understand what is the best thing for us. For example, if I am let us say a marketer of, let us say, screws and or nuts and bolts, okay, and I am supplying nuts and bolts to different industries. Now, what kind of strategy should I adopt? Or let us say I am using some specialized components, right, some specialized auto components or specialized mining drilling components, something, right, for oil exploration or drilling into the ground earth, something. What kind of strategy should I use? So, there are three things we will talk about: undifferentiated marketing, concentrated marketing and differentiated marketing. Now, what does it mean? Let us go one by one. Undifferentiated, as the name suggests, you can understand, is something where there is no difference, one thing for all, right, one for everyone. So, here we are talking about something like a mass market. So, if you go back that very famous line of Henry Ford, when he said, what colors of cars do you like, and Henry Ford said, I would love to have cars of any color that you want, but they all should be in black. That means what? He, in one way, he was telling his managers that whatever cars colors you talk about, but I am going to fix on only one color, that is black. So, indirectly he was talking about mass marketing. He was talking about producing one kind of a product, so that the product cost can easily come down and that can become more accessible to the customers. Okay. So, undifferentiated marketing strategy is like no particular target market, you are targeting the whole universe. Okay. So, a generic marketing strategy is used for, marketing mix is used for all the different kinds of customers in the market. The second kind of marketing approach is concentrated marketing strategy. Now, concentrated means you will target one, let us say, target segment, one target market, right. Now, what is it? For example, let us say a chemical manufacturer, right, who is producing chemicals, for example, giving a name to you, for example, Deepak Nitrites, okay, or alkaline chemicals, okay, or Aarti Industries, for that, any industry, I am giving some Indian names, or let us say if you want to go a global player, DuPont, for example, Dow Chemicals, right. Now, the question is, let us say Deepak Nitrite wants to sell chemicals. Now, there can be different markets, but it feels that one segment, which is, let us say, the steel manufacturers, let us say, or let us say the textile manufacturers, is a very has a very huge potential, right, has a very huge potential. So, what they would do is they would like to develop their products for a particular target segment, because this target, which is, let us say, textile or let us say steel, has such a huge amount of annual demand that it is more than enough to keep its plant busy throughout the year. Okay. So, in such a condition, what happens? They will go for that one target market only, and now the marketing mix will be designed according to the need of that particular target market. So, if it is a textile manufacturers, so then the marketing mix, that product, price, promotion, all will be designed according to the needs of the target market, which is a textile manufacturer example. The third case is the differentiated marketing strategy, where you are targeting maybe 2 or more target segments. Okay. Now, what happens here? Why 2 or more segments? Now, you feel that one segment is not sufficient, one thing, or we have a expertise. That same Deepak Nitrite case, going back, Deepak Nitrite feels that it can cater to, let us say, 2 basic industries verticals. One is let us say textiles, and the other is, let us say, steel and those kind of industries. So, it says it feels that by utilizing its plant capacity for these 2 verticals, it can utilize its plants 100%, right. So, what it will do is it will target these 2 type of segments and create different marketing mix for each target segment, for textile one side, for steel and others one side. Okay. This is just the same explanation which I have been giving. Undifferentiated. So, lack of effective market segmentation refers to a situation when the business firm ignores segment differences. So, I have explained it, right. So, you can see this, the segment is 1 here, and differentiated, this is concentrated. So, I am concentrating maybe one piece. So, this is the piece I am concentrating, and in differentiated I am trying to concentrate maybe on each individually different type of customers. Okay. So, let us take this example of undifferentiated, right. What will happen here? Now, Wipro Infotech, this is the example I am giving you. Wipro Infotech's personal computing division, its vice president once said that every segment is a robust market for us, and we believe in delivering robust products with superior quality. He further said that Wipro should target all segments for PC, personal computer business, which include like laptops, desktops, servers, and with the highest level of quality and service. And interestingly, once Azim Premji, the head of Wipro, once he was asked, what is your core competency, and in his in one of his conferences he had said, the core competency of Wipro is diversification. So, Wipro can be good at many places. So, the diversification is its core business, its core competency. So, that is so what happens here in an undifferentiated market, a target market, right. So, the company feels that we can give service to various kinds of clients and with the same kind of product and services. So, we do not need to make much of a change for them. But when it comes to the concentrated marketing, right. So, here you have to focus. So, only one. For example, in let us say, as I gave you this example of Deepak Nitrite. So, you are concentrating only on one segment. Okay. A small scale company manufacturing and marketing materials handling equipment, for example, material handling equipments. So, those are those devices which are used to keep the materials in size, in order, in a factory or a company. So, they decided to concentrate or focus its marketing efforts to only customers who were located near the manufacturing unit. So, what did they do? They said we will only concentrate on those manufacturers or those buyers who are close to our manufacturing unit, because we do not want to spend unnecessarily time and energy on far off customers. So, customer location was a single segmentation variable, right. Now, why the company did it? Maybe the company thought that by doing this they can give better service, right, quality of the pre-sales and post-sales service that is required, and at a very lower cost to the buyer. So, this is a advantage that you can get if you focus on only one profitable segment. And as I said, differentiating strategy is something where you are differentiating on different kinds of customers. And let us take an example again here. So, now as the markets are stagnating, for example, a situation where the market was stagnating. So, one company, Emerson Network, right, power company, they are the producers of uninterrupted UPS, right, your UPS basically uninterrupted power supply, right. So, they changed their marketing strategy from undifferentiated to differentiated strategy. Now, what did they do? So, earlier they were only trying to give one kind of product for all the markets. Now, they thought no, that is not enough. So, what we need to do is we need to create different kinds of products for different kinds of customer segments. So, what did they do? Now, it started offering different products to different market segments. For example, for IT companies like Infosys, Wipro, HP, Emerson supplied online network UPS and desktop UPS to take care of network servers, storage devices and critical workstations. For large hospitals like Fortis, Apollo, the company offered and supplied large facility UPS. And for data centers and sensitive electronics and for offices, it supplied power inverters. Now, the differentiated marketing strategy with different products and services for these different segments now helped this company Emerson to increase its market share up to 30% in the Indian market. So, this is a classic case where a undifferentiated marketing to a differentiated marketing strategy helped the company to increase its profitability. Now, why it helps, you see, you have to understand that while differentiating your marketing strategy, you have understood the actual need and the difference in in the requirements of the customers. There was a case where a company was supplying two types of computers. One, a complete solution kind of, and the other was like selling the product directly to the customer and not giving any expertise solution or any service much of it, any hand holding for that, right. After some time the company found they were doing well, but once they did the survey to realize that many players were there in the market who actually wanted a lot of hand holding and post sale service, right. And there were only a few who did not want this post sale service, they were not of much importance to them. And the people who wanted this post sale service, they were ready to pay a premium for it. Okay. Now, once this company understood it, what they did was they stopped the other segment, which was the the ones which did not want much of hand holding, and they focused, concentrated only on the ones which wanted their service after the sales also, post sale service. So, by doing this, the company increased its profitability because they could charge higher premium for such kind of extra services. Now, coming to this is how it looks like, the undifferentiated, undifferentiated, differentiated and concentrated. So, if you can see the whole market, so this is the company marketing strategy CMS. So, whole market is 1. So, here we have divided the strategy the segment to 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and the company can maybe individually go for have a different marketing mix for this one, for the first segment, for the second segment for a different marketing strategy, for third a different marketing mix. So, here the kind of promotion that you find here will be different to here and here maybe, or this one, and similarly the kind of negotiation you make will be different. So, all will be, the marketing mix will be completely different, and here what you are doing is you are trying to concentrate only one segment, right, one segment. So, this is something like the companies adopt. And what are the good the guidelines in choosing the target market strategy? Now, if the company resources are limited, generally concentrated marketing strategy is the best. Suppose you have a limitation and you feel that the demand of a particular industry or vertical is much more than what you can produce even. So, it is better to go for a concentrated marketing strategy because that is a specialization you can develop. If a new product is in the introduction stage of the PLC, a firm can follow either concentrated or undifferentiated, right, strategy, and for mature stage differentiated marketing strategy. Now, why? In a mature market or a growing market, for example, close to something like a growth and a maturity, lot of different variants are required, lot of different kinds of designs are required. So, in such a condition, a differentiated strategy is good enough, is good, right. But otherwise a company can focus on a concentrated market or a undifferentiated market. Why? Because in a concentrated market you target one segment and you give the same product, and in an undifferentiated market you give the same product to the whole market. In one way, if you see, the product is the same, right, they are not different, right. The third point it says is if major competitors follow differentiated marketing strategy, a business marketer must also follow the same. But if competitors use undifferentiated strategy, a company will gain by using either differentiated or concentrated marketing strategy. Suppose let us say for example, the case of IBM versus Dell. Now IBM was a large player, it had a stronghold in the market. Now when Dell came into the market, they knew that it was impossible for them to beat or defeat IBM. Okay. So what Dell did? Dell went into a different strategy. So they went for a differentiated strategy. What they did? They went for make to order policy. So whenever customers would demand a product, they would make it as per the order, as per the requirement of the customer. So they customize the product according to the demand of the buyer. So as a result of it, what happened? Dell charged a premium and they created a lot of satisfaction among the customers and they became very successful. Okay. So this is where I will end today's lecture. So now this is a task for you. Identify one company which follows each for which follows a undifferentiated marketing strategy, a concentrated and differentiated marketing strategy, and list the maybe the segments that they serve, right. So which segments they are serving and which kind of strategy they are adopting. So try to do this as a homework and maybe you will get more rich in understanding and your thought process will become more clear in how segments are developed, how target segments are calculated, the potential is calculated. So all these things will be much clearer to you if you do this exercise, right. So with this what I will do is we will wind up today's lecture and till then take care. Thank you very much.